My name's Jane Keyworth. It's quite a scary large picture of me up there, sorry about that. I've been doing this for a very long time. I've spent my life working with families and especially with teenagers. We're going to look at why teenagers behave differently from adults. We're going to look at why they think and feel and do things quite differently from the way that we would do them. And the first sort of rule with teenagers really is to understand they are not little versions of us. They are using a completely different part of their brain. So I'm going to start here. This is a history of the brain. Don't worry, it's not very long, it's only a couple of minutes long. But when we were cavemen running around, we didn't have all of this big fat brain. We basically had the bit in the middle at the back. And this is sometimes referred to as reptile brain cells. What we developed after that was a bit called the mammal brain. We developed several layers of mammal brain that includes our limbic system, which is where our emotions are. It's also where all of our pack and herd behaviour is. And this is the area that we're really going to focus on this evening, because this is the area that teenagers are using largely. The dolphins I put up there because I'm a big fan of dolphins. Put your hand up if you like dolphins. Put your hand up if you think dolphins are well behaved. No, they're not. They're very naughty. They have gang wars. They rape each other. They kidnap each other. And they also do drugs recreationally. True, all true. If you go on YouTube and look up young male dolphins getting high on pufferfish, you will see a very fun documentary on exactly that. This is great until the child hits a certain age of hormonal development, which for girls is about 13, 14 years old. The boys' brains are running a year, nearly 2 years behind the girls in development, so they'll be about 14, 15 years old. Their emotions are fine. Look at them with their friends. They're very loving. This is the most inclusive, loving generation I think we've ever had. You know, there's nothing wrong with their emotions. Emotions are fine. But their logic and their reasoning is struggling because of teenage brain development. And that's what we do. Now we've got some lovely new things here that didn't used to be such a problem, which is the screen addiction, screenagers, as I believe a lot of them refer to themselves as now, and also the insomnia that comes with that. Your brain is light activated, which means if you shine lights into your eyes, especially small focused ones like the phones and the iPads, if you shine that into your eyes, it goes through your eyes, retinas, into your visual cortex at the back of your head, and it stimulates your brain. So rights and responsibilities are always equal. If they have the right not to be shouted at and not to be hit, their responsibility is they must not shout at you, and they must not hit you. This goes two ways. Respect is a two-way thing. Children learn through social learning. Basically, monkey see, monkey do. So if they see you sitting down in the evening with a glass of wine, chilling out, then they're going to think, well, if I need to relax in the evening with my friends, what am I going to do? I'm going to buy some alcohol. And I've worked with children whose parents are alcoholics, for example, and the children hate alcohol. They would never go near alcohol because they've suffered from having alcohol misusing parents, but they're smoking weed. So although they wouldn't touch that drug, they've still learned from their parents the drug using behaviour. They've just switched the drug. And cannabis, which is a very popular one with your teens right now, not necessarily your teens, but with teens generally, it uses up all of your dopamine, which is your happy chemical. So when you smoke weed, you get high. The high is not in the cannabis. The high is your own dopamine, your happy chemical. The cannabis just opens the floodgates. You use up all of your dopamine in one hit. You get high, and then you crash. Now, I always use the analogy of an aeroplane. The family is an aeroplane. The children are the passengers on the plane. You are the pilots. If your pilot is running up and down the passenger bit, screaming and shouting, "Ah!" what does that do to the passengers on that plane? Like, you may have hit a bit of turbulence. The plane might be a bit rocky. We don't want the pilot doing that, do we? We want the pilot going, yeah, everything's fine, sit down, be calm, keep your seatbelts on, everything's going to be fine. Now, as pilots, we can go in the flight deck and scream and shout and cry ourselves, but we don't do it when we're walking through the passenger bit. This is space. These are the 12 sessions that you can find online. They are 1 hour teach sessions, so you can join camera on or off, you can interact or not, up to you. And there is also an accompanying workshop that you can book onto if you would like to have something where you do interact with cameras on more. and share experiences with other parents. So some people like to share, some people don't. So I've tried to make it safe for both types of people in there. So that's it for tonight. Thank you ever so much for listening. I appreciate that. And hopefully I'll see you online at some point.